Hungary. No Bart Simpson, no O.J. Simpson, and no George Simpson. I did change my name before I became a U.S. citizen. Can everybody hear me well? Right? Okay. I will talk to you in segments. My life as growing up, school, then the ghetto, the deportation, life in the camp, liberation, thank God, and then my life in the United States and the United States Army. I'm a Korean veteran, by the way. And my life then afterward in the United States. I was growing up in Hungary, and I had a very good life. My father was a merchant, wholesale hardware, imported bicycles, and he had a very, very good relationship with the community in Hungary. And he was pretty well-to-do, so he took me sometimes on vacations. My mother took me to vacation to Yugoslavia, and we lived very well. Now, let me start with the high school. Once I joined the high school, my mother wanted to register me to a private high school. As soon as we entered the doors, they told us, we can't take you. What do you mean you can't take us? We live in this country for many years, our fathers, our grandfathers. Why can't you take us? Well, the law already passed in Hungary because, see, Hungary was a collaborating country with Germany. They were fascist. But the Jews had a pretty good life. The person who was in charge, Mr. Horthy, looked the other way and let the Jews do what they want to do. 6% Jews were allowed to go to any private school, and the quota was closed. My mother said, how can you do that? I'm sorry, lady, take your son out of here. He cannot attend the school. So I couldn't. Then, so I went to a public school, and of course, I graduated from the high school. But the past 2 years were very, very rough. Every day another proclamation came. Well, Jews cannot attend any more universities. Jews cannot go to this school, to that school. You cannot become a doctor. You cannot become an official. And the restrictions started setting in step by step by step. Also, after we finished school, a lot of fights were in the backyard because there were people who did not like us already, and they started fights. So we had to live through this period of time until I graduated from high school. Now, since I couldn't go any further, so I learned the profession to become a dental technician. And I learned it for 1 year, and everything was going well. I also took violin lessons. We had a little orchestra we were playing, and we were pretty good. The situation changed very, very rapidly. Slowly, they started taking away segments from my father's business. Now you cannot sell this. You cannot sell any more bicycles. You cannot sell the other. And suddenly, my father's business dwindled to practically down to almost zero. And it was a terrible, terrible situation. I don't know how my father made it or how he did it, but he was a genius. He just made it through. One day, it was on a Sunday, and my mother looked out the balcony because we lived on the second floor in our apartment, and she looks down the window and she said, "Oh my God, look at the German soldiers running all over town. What is happening here?" We had warnings, and we didn't take it as it came. When Hitler occupied Austria, we got letters. People from Poland ran away and told us the horrible, horrible stories. What is happening? We said, you are nuts. You are crazy. Who believes you? I mean, the Germans are intelligent people. They would never do such a thing like that. But let me go back a little bit to German history, and I'm going to continue from there. Although I'm not a history professor, you got a very wonderful person here, Mr. Jensen, and he'll teach you history. Hitler came to power in 1933, as you know that, and he took immediately with him all the people who were in his vicinity, the same type of horrible human beings. For example, take Hermann Göring. He was a pilot in First World War. Hitler almost killed all the homosexuals in Germany, where Göring was one of the biggest ones. He was a homosexual and a drug addict, and so was Hitler. Hitler was a drug addict. Take Kaltenbrunner, an Austrian attorney. Take Adolf Eichmann, an Austrian. Take Reinhard Heydrich. Heydrich was the most notorious killer that the world ever seen. He just killed people by random. He gave out the orders. He made a list every day. We're going to kill this and this and this and this and get ready with it. One day, I believe that it shows either in 1933 or 1934, I'm not exact, he traveled to, at that time the country was Czechoslovakia. And by that time, the English knew that they watched him, where he's going to go, what he's going to do. So they dropped about 6 or 7 Czechoslovakian paratroopers. And they watched as Heydrich is coming by, and the machine gun his car, and he died on the spot. So they killed him. In turn, the Germans went nearby village, took women, the men, and the children, lined them up, and machine gunned the whole village. Then they went in with flame destroyer, and they used, where the fire came out from a flame. I forgot the name of it. Anyway, they ruined the whole village. They tore the whole village down, and everything was to zero. Today is a big monument there, so they killed the whole village in turn. The SS troopers that existed in Germany under Hitler did not exist before at all. Hitler formed them. They were actually called in German Schutzstaffel. I speak still fluent German. By the way, I forgot to tell you, my mother was Austrian, so I speak German at home. And when I went to school, to high school, everybody had to take another language. And guess what? I took German. But the teacher didn't know my mother was Austrian. So I graduated on the top of the class. You know, don't ask, don't tell, you know. Very simple. When I think of it today, God. Anyways, then there was another detachment called the SR. Again, it was a security detachment. The difference was between the two. The SR wore a brown shirt. The SS wore a black shirt. One day, Hitler decided the SR became too big. They became his enemy. He took 12 SS soldiers, went to the hotel where the general of the SR regiment was living. Again, he was a homosexual. They knocked the door down. They gave him a pistol. He said, "You're going to kill yourself. We give you 3 minutes," and that's the history. "Are we going to kill you?" So actually, he committed suicide. Then they incorporated the SRs into the SS regiment. The SS were the most brutal organization that ever existed. You're talking about the US Marines who go and fight and have a tough training. I wish I would have a Marine training. No, none of it. We couldn't even have a pistol at home because it was a death sentence if you had a pistol.